So, my name is Laura Ure, and I learned sign language as a missionary in Ohio. And I've recently taken classes in sign language at BYU. I'm from St. George, Utah, and I really enjoy learning sign language, and I enjoy working with the deaf community. And today I'm going to talk a little bit about the beginnings of sign language, or ASL as it's come to be known, and a little bit also about how sign language has re-evolved into our modern day culture. So originally sign language in America started on this little island off of the coast of Massachusetts called Martha's Vineyard. And on Martha's Vineyard, there was an incredibly high population of deaf people. Due to genetic traits, intermarrying, a lot of sickness, the deaf rates were just incredibly high. For example, in the rest of America, the deaf population, the deaf ratio was about 1 in 5,728 people were deaf. On Martha's Vineyard, it was about 1 out of 155. And in certain parts of Martha's Vineyard, it was even as high as 1 out of 25 people were deaf. As a result, everybody knew sign language. You had relatives, brothers or sisters or parents that were deaf, and so lots of people were using sign language in other ways. You know, they'd use sign language in church to talk while the preacher was teaching, or they'd use it communicating across fields, or they'd use it behind the school teacher's back. Some things never really changed, but it was just incredibly common. And in our day, this has evolved, and sign language still happens in the community, but not nearly as much as it did then. Now, one of the most common groups to learn ASL are actually babies and young children. And there's a researcher named Glyron. In 2003, he did some studies about teaching children, and especially infants, sign language. And his research shows that infants as young as 6 to 7 months can remember and recognize a sign, and as young as 8 months can begin signing back, essentially, either words or phrases. And there are incredible benefits to teaching your children ASL, especially at young ages. The researcher lists a few of them. One of them is increased reading ability, increased spelling proficiency, the raising of self-esteem, communication of emotions, increased vocabulary, small muscle development, better eye-hand coordination, heightened cerebral activity, lowering levels of frustration because of that communication, and greater parent-child bonding. Many of these benefits have been proven to be applicable to adults as well that choose to learn sign language. Perhaps the greatest benefits, though, really come when we interact with people for whom that's their only form of communication. Those that live in stony silence, you could say, that their only interaction with the world is through their hands and through you, really, is how they experience it. So while the prevalence of deaf people isn't as high in our modern day, learning ASL can benefit each of us in our lives. And understanding the culture and the language is essential to really understanding the deaf culture. So I would invite you to go home and learn ASL. Learn a few words, learn how to say your name, find something that you can connect with those that live in stony silence.
Awesome.